Hey there, I am coming at you from my schoolroom floor. I've got a nice little late afternoon sun flare coming in. I am going to talk to you guys today about Homeschool in the Woods, Time Travelers, in early 19th century unit study. I have several different videos on these unit studies. I have one on setting up your unit study, your teacher's manual or your text. So I have a video on how I put these together. I have another video on creating the lap book for your unit study. And then I have another one about projects for your unit study. We have done several of these. I think we've done one on ancient Greece. We have done one on colonial studies. I'm trying to think, the Renaissance to the Reformation. We've done several. Homeschool in the Woods has a world history version of this, and then they have their time travelers, which covers their U.S. histories. So their U.S. history unit. So this one is on the early 19th century. It covers the War of 1812. It covers the Gold Rush. It covers things like the Erie Canal, all kinds of westward expansion, all kinds of really fun things to study in history with your kids. So this is geared towards about I would say third or fourth grade. In our house, we would do third or fourth to about 8th grade for these studies. So what I'm going to show you in this video is how I plan a day when we're doing these studies. So I want to show you just how easy Homeschool in the Woods makes it to set this study up on the daily. There is some prep work to do ahead of time, like for instance, putting your booklet together, but you wouldn't have to do this necessarily. I like to hold it in my hands. I like to be able to flip through, highlight, underline, check things off with a pen and paper, but some people are much more, they're totally fine reading it straight off their computer. So you wouldn't have to necessarily put a teacher's book together like this. I like to do that. But what I'm going to show you today is how you will kind of what a day looks like when you're doing one of these time traveler studies, one of these time traveler studies, and kind of the different components that go into them as well. Because what I love about these studies is that they cover, pretty much everything you would want in a unit study is in them. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to do all of it. You don't have to do some of it. You could just use the text and read from that every day and add some books in. I like to incorporate the lap book piece. I like to incorporate the timeline piece. I also like to incorporate the daily copywork piece, which I'll show you a closer look at in a second. And this is what a lap book piece looks like. Pretty much every lesson has a lap book piece like this that your child will kind of save in like a little plastic bag, and then at the very end of the study, they will glue it all inside their lap book. And then also every 5th day, there is a planned project, a project day. And so all throughout the study, there are hands-on projects. So there's hands-on projects like weaving, and I think that there's a corn husk doll. There's quilting. There's all kinds of super fun. These are really fun hands-on projects. Sometimes I am a little picky about hands-on projects because I'm like, we're going to gather the supplies and we're going to sit down and take the time to do it, and it's a bust, or it's just not that quality of a project. I like to have something that my kids can, that we can hang on to, that we can display on a shelf, that we can really remember the study by. So not something that we're just going to kind of cut up and glue to a piece of paper and then throw away later. I love their hands-on projects in their studies. So those are the parts that I really like to incorporate. Also, the other options that you can add in are They have a newspaper that you can work on with every lesson. There's kind of a writing prompt to write in the newspaper. I did not print that out for this, but that is another thing that we've really enjoyed doing in these studies. And there's just all kinds of pieces to these studies that you can choose to do or choose to leave out, which is really nice because then you can kind of, you know, use it to fit your family's homeschool style. The other thing too that I did not mention is recipes. There's all kinds of recipes which are really, really fun to add in. And then at the end of each unit study, they give you all kinds of fun ideas to do your own party, which I love. So for this one, the end of the year or the end of the unit party is a chuck wagon dinner. And so it gives you, throughout the study, it gives you lots of different recipe ideas so that you can try, or you can wait and do them all at the very end for your party. It gives you decoration ideas, invitation ideas, ideas to do at the party, such as panning for gold and things like that, types of music to play, and kind of how to set up and decorate and things like that too. Activities, did I say that already? I think I did. Place cards, how to set the table, just all kinds of fun ideas. So I absolutely love that piece. I just can't say enough about these fun studies because there's just so much that as I'm talking about it, I keep thinking of more things that I love. So I am going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you what it looks like to actually kind of print your things out for the day and get ready for your lesson, and kind of what the lesson plan looks like, because they also really have that down to a T. So it's very easy to just kind of glance down your lesson plan and figure out what you need to do for that day, for that week. So, you know, Sunday afternoon, you can prep everything, get everything ready, get all your supplies gathered up so that you are just have to follow the plan for the week, which is really, really nice. So I'm going to stop the video, turn you around so you can see exactly all the different pieces. Alrighty, so these are my things all ready for the lesson of the day. This is the teacher's kind of, I'm going to just call it a teacher's manual that I have printed, and it's ready to go. I kind of had a little run-in with my laminator, so that's why it's all kind of bent like this. So what I like to do is I like to print out all the text for the lesson ahead of time. Again, you do not have to do that, but I like to do that because I like paper. And then for each lesson is the projects. So what that will tell you to do is how to do your lap book piece. So like we're doing lesson 1, and I have printed out this this is the lap book piece, and so this is ready to go. And so this, after I have read the text, which is right here for lesson 1, Vera will do the lap book piece. So this tells us how to do that. And then it will also tell us how to set up our timeline and what timeline figures to put on it. So that's what these are right here, what timeline figures to put on it. And then the other thing that it is asking us to do today is to get our copywork, they call it a penmanship book, ready to go as well. So for each one, there is copywork that you can do, and it varies on what you're studying. And so for this one, we are studying the early 19th century. So we are copying or doing copywork out of McGuffey's rules. And so what I have done here is I have printed out some of these for her to start making her book. And so this is what that looks like. And then it also has a couple different choices for penmanship paper to create your book. So that is ready to go to put this together. And then, like I said, the timeline is the other thing that she will be doing in this lesson. So we will create the timeline. It tells how to set that up. We've done this many times and it is really fun. They will store this in a binder. And then for every lesson, there are timeline figures that need to be colored and stuck onto the timeline. And so this is page 1 of the timeline figures. You can kind of see how big they are. There's a lot on one page. And by the end, you are going to have, I don't even know how many pages. It's usually very, very long, about 9 pages, side to side, lined up like this, about 9 or 10 pages long. And it's got this line down the middle with dates. And then you are going to basically pack it full with these timeline figures. That is how much stuff you cover in their lessons, in their unit studies. So that's really cool. So it looks like we are going to be sticking a couple of these on, and they're in order, so you can just cut those out for your child. I usually have them color these while I'm reading the text. So then they will stick those onto the timeline when we are done reading, and then they will also do their copy work and their lap book piece when I'm done reading as well. So these are a couple of things. This is my teacher's manual. I'm just going to call it my teacher's manual. So I have my text in here like I showed you, and then after every page of text is the project page. So every day you've got a little something to do, and like I said, you can do it all, you can do some of it, you can do whatever you want to, which is great. And so that is separate from these things. These things I will actually put into my daily lesson planner where I plan all of our lessons. And these are just little reminders that I will put in there to keep just close at hand. These are just some really handy tips. So I kind of remember what's going on in this study. It tells different items that I need to kind of gather and have on hand. It tells me the code, so when I go to the PDF to find things, I know kind of what the numbers mean. I'm probably making this sound more complicated than it is. It's really not, but it tells you, where to look in the different folders of the file when you purchase the unit study. They're all in this big massive file with all the different things for the awesome study. So that tells you kind of the code for what all of those different labels mean on the files. And then this I absolutely love as well. This is just a big, really nice list of additional resources, books, the Landmark series, which are great biographies. It also has historical fiction, which I always love to tie in, videos, DVDs, movies, even some audiobook options. And so I will choose several of these that we will kind of stick in here and there throughout the study, which I love that too, because it's always fun to tie in a movie night or something like that. And then last, but definitely not least, this is to me one of the most important parts of the study just to help me plan. You can see how they have it set up. They have it set up, days 1 through 5, but you definitely could do, 4 days in a week, however you want to set it up. There are 25 lessons total, and it tells you exactly what you're going to do in each lesson. You can choose to do it like this, or you can kind of, you can modify it to fit your needs, but I actually really like to do it just the way they have it, which is rare for me. What they do is they have the text and then the notebook piece and the lapbook piece. And you can see the NB means notebook. That's the binder I was talking about where the timeline will be. The penmanship from the McGuffey rules will also be in the notebook. And then the lapbook is obviously this guy. And so it tells you what lapbook piece you're going to be doing. So the LB is for lapbook, the NB is for notebook. So you're going to be doing the text and your lapbook and your notebook pieces all week long. And then on Friday, you can do your projects. So let's see, you can kind of look ahead and be able to go to those different lessons and find what you need to gather for your supplies. And so those are all built in for you. So I really, really like the way that they have it set up, and it's just a really, really handy tool. All right, so I hope that gave you a really good idea of what Homeschool in the Woods Time Travelers studies look like. We have used so many of these studies in our homeschool over the years. I think that your family is going to love them too. If you love unit studies, if it's really important to you, like it is to me, to incorporate all 5 senses for your kids when you're doing a unit study, I think you're really going to like this one. So anyway, I hope you'll try it out, and I hope you enjoyed this review.